Shares of Intel getting a boost today following an upgrade from equal weight to an overweight by Morgan Stanley. It is our call of the day. The firm calling for more than 20% upside in the stock, pointing to the transition of Bob Swan into full-time CEO as a big catalyst for growth. Intel's already up nearly 12% this year. So is this a major turning point for this stock, Dan?
Yeah, I think it has more to do with the macro, if anything else. I think Bob Swan, everyone was very comfortable with that appointment. There didn't seem to be anybody more interesting about it, but you said it's up 12% in the year. It's still well off its 52-week highs. It's trading at about 11 times. Here's the thing. Expectations are fairly low right now. I think earnings and sales are expected to be flat year over year. And if we get any more clarity on global growth and the situation with trade with China, this company with this balance sheet, where they're levered to autonomous, to IoT, to data center, this thing is going to be in the high 50s very soon if all those things sort of happen as far as trade and global growth again in 2019.
Don't you think, though, that Intel, which has drastically underperformed the semis as a group, probably 900 basis points year to date, is the choice? I mean, I hear you being bullish, but to me, this is a table-pounding moment on some level. If you believe that this whole thing's going higher, Intel, because of that diversification, because of that balance sheet, and because I actually think that they tend to be overly conservative at times, and I think those are the numbers we got in the first quarter.
Well, if you talk to the sentiment, all the analysts on Wall Street, I'd say all of them, but the majority of analysts on Wall Street either have holds or sell. Only about 45% of the analysts on Wall Street have a buy on this. So there's a lot more room for upgrades in this, is my point. So again, break above 50, you know where your stop out is. That's a great risk reward trade. So I'm with these guys. I mean, why wouldn't you want to buy it?
I tend to look over,
right?
It's like I'm in class, I look over the student to my right's shoulder.
Are you cheating?
I'm not cheating.
He always gets the right answers right here, though.
But I look over Dan because he has these great charts, and he's right. 57.5, if you go back to sort of May of last year, was the level this topped out at. That's another 10-ish% from where we are, and I think that's pretty reasonable given the market we find ourselves in. That's why I think, though, it tops out.
He's looking at, does it bother you he looks at your screens?
Every day.
I would think he'd have original ideas.
I mean, his screens are pretty good looking.
Every day.
By the way, if you believe in Intel, do you have to believe in a recovering data center, which had seen a rough patch in the latest quarter, as well as PC? I mean, PC is not a huge.
Well, PC actually was a big surprise in 2018.
Right.
I think expectations were for data center were going to be higher than, but now they've come down, And so here's the other thing. We're also getting to a point where we're going to see Uber, Lyft, all these guys go public. We're going to see more talk about Waymo. Autonomous is going to be something that's going to be valued inside of these companies. And we're going to start thinking about who are these companies that were so levered. Don't forget, remember NVIDIA when it went up like 300% in a couple of years? What was it levered to? Autonomous was one of those big areas. So to me, I think Intel's well positioned. A new CEO who's going to have to make his own mark. Go back and look at Satya Nadella, some of these other guys when they've taken over some of these big behemoths. They'll do some interesting things here.
Like a deal?
Possibly a deal. They bought a lot of things. They bought Altera a couple years ago.
Yeah, and the good thing about Intel is it's levered to multiple different industries, right? So you asked, do you have to believe in data center? You can, but you don't have to. To Dan's point on NVIDIA, it was one or two things that really hit this. And if you want to play that big theme of mobility, Intel is probably one of the better ways to play it. So you have multiple different levers, sentiment, different types of industries that can go with a great risk reward.
The problem here is that, first of all, if we feel better about the environment where enterprise is spending on such services, that's great, except for the fact that I will say it's becoming all very commoditized and very, very crowded. Everybody seems to be laying claim to this exact same space in one form or another. That's my pushback to say, hey, I think margins probably get less interesting than more interesting in the short run.
Would you rather? Quickly.
I like this game. It was twice in one show. Quickly.
Intel. I didn't do the other one, the BK self. Would you rather?
Would you rather?
Intel or Xilinx? Because I know you like Xilinx.
I'll tell you right now, Xilinx. And I know the stock has gone from 90 to 100.
Right? You did a power pitch on that?
We power pitched that a while back. I think it was a $92 stock. And I remember Dan looked at me and said, I'd rather do, he would rather do something that I probably, exactly. Ha ha. Joke's on you there, pal. But to answer your question, Xilinx, because now $31 billion market cap U.S. Is Intel going to make a deal? I'm not suggesting they buy Xilinx, but this is sort of the sweet spot of where top technology is in 2019.